Hello, my dear co-creators. I have had a wild 48 hours. I have been packing, getting ready for our move at the end of the month, and it has brought my little nervous system just straight back to the last time I moved, which was not a pleasant experience and not for a positive reason. And, I'm always talking about how our nervous system's job, that neuroceptive piece, is just about scanning through the senses and the physical function of the body to say, is there anything here that is a match for anything that's happened in, our personal history, but also, uh epigenetics would tell us 7 generations back, but for me I think sort of like akashic record level like ever, right? And so for me, the last time I was packing some of these things, and the last time I saw some of these things, like some things in the basement that I don't come across every day, was when I was last moving, which was 9 years ago, and an extremely scary time for me where there was like loss around every corner and I had no resources, no support. It felt like it. But obviously, the universe was still supporting me because we made it through. But it was just a really painful time. And so, even though this move is about a really exciting opportunity and growth and points to really wonderful possibilities, my little nervous system was like, "Oh, you're putting these things into boxes in the basement that matches um, this other time when you did that, and when that there was like so much pain and grief. So it is probably dangerous right now." And I didn't quite put it all together because I was packing alongside, like, also, uh, interacting with the work that's being done on the new house and starting a new training program. And so, just like I also always say, it's so great to like experience this stuff in your own body because then you're like, yep, this is real. Um, so my nervous system didn't know what it, or it was subconscious, right? So I didn't know why my nervous system was going like something's really wrong. And the things that I was noticing were the work being done at the new house and the new training program. And so I was saying, oh, it's probably that's the problem. I was saying the work is not getting done fast enough, or it's not going to be done in time, or it's not according to my expectations. So that's a problem. That's why I'm upset. And then I was also saying, like, the new training program is not as good as I thought it was going to be. Um, I made a wrong decision to sign up for it because it's a pretty hefty investment. It's not the right timing. So I was saying those two things were the problem. So that's the story that I was attaching to the physiology that was saying like something's really wrong. And I was using the word, the emotion word of like regret or like irresponsibility, because I was telling myself like I shouldn't have got into the house thing, I shouldn't have got into the training thing, like they're both too big and too hard and too much of an investment financially, and I made a wrong decision and I'm irresponsible. So I did put this massive story on top of it, and then I had a really 2 horrible nights sleep. And then this morning I was like, oh, I was packing all of this stuff up that I haven't done since I last packed it all up when it was like one of the worst times in my life. That is probably most likely what my nervous system was telling me was wrong. And I just grabbed the closest thing to blame. So, what does this give me the opportunity to do? So, one, just first of all, it gives me the opportunity to be like, yeah, that was horrible, and like have whatever leftover grief from that previous moving thing, right? Like, oh my gosh, you're so right. That was so hard. That was so scary. I remember. You are right, body, to remind me, because I would not recommend going through that again either. And then I get to start, whenever I'm done, like supporting myself with that grief, I get to say, like, which I did a big chunk of writing, which is one way that really helps me with grief, is just when I like write it all down and get it all out of my head. Um, Now I get to let my nervous system know, like, actually, this packing is a cool one. Like, this packing is moving towards more resources, not less. This is moving towards like more possibilities, not less. This is a gain, not a loss. This is something I chose, not something that was forced upon me. This is something that increases my capacity rather than decreases. My nervous system is not going to believe me right away. But I can show it like slowly but surely as I continue to find the evidence. Ugh. Find the evidence for how this is um, not as scary as my nervous system may seem, while being like a never denying or disregarding. I love it in my new training program. In the meeting this morning, they talked about um, we need all of these things validated inside of us, and we can be the one to validate them, because sometimes we're waiting for other people to validate it, but we can be the one to validate it. So I can tell myself, like, yeah, for sure, that was so awful and scary. And I really appreciate you giving me a heads up that it looked like I was heading towards the same thing, because I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to experience that again. So thank you for giving me a heads up. And then lots of yawns today. Um, and then the cool um, opportunity that I am learning in this new program is um, how we can look at, let me just read it so I say it right, um, reducing the importance of the thing that's scary. So, um, reminding yourself through those examples, like, I'll look, this one is one that I chose to do, and look, this one is one that means we're going to receive more resources as a result, and this one is one that's going to expand our opportunities and possibilities, um, so that I can kind of support my nervous system in realizing that it's not as much of a match as my nervous system thinks it is. And then one of the recommendations that I loved, that was in my class this morning, that is consistent with something that I learned in DBT, is to increase pleasurable activities during these times. So, whereas the impulse when you're in sort of a stressful time is like just focus on the stressful thing, like it's irresponsible to have pleasure. But what can be nice is when you counterbalance that with some pleasurable activities, then you can uh, like we talk about, like kind of reverse psychology. Like when you take a deep breath, you let your body know, like, there must not be a tiger standing in front of me, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to take a deep breath. So when you do something that you enjoy, then you can kind of counterbalance that. So something that I enjoy is making a movie, a video. So I decided to give myself that because I had a little break. And then also something that I love is that Bob Ross remix song. I'll put a link to it, and it's like, I believe every day's a good day when you paint. And I already packed up all my paints, so I couldn't paint, but I decided to watch that as an in between. And then I watched the Reading Rainbow one, which I had never seen before, because I was like, I wonder if they have other ones of this. And oh my gosh, that one's so good. If you liked reading Rainbow, you'd love that one too. So I'll link that one too. Um, and then what I'm going to do now is do a little bit of sewing because I really like sewing so much. So, and the other thing that I did before I put together all the stuff about the packing was I was like realizing that I was, they reminded me to that my class reminded me to ask like what's in your control and what's not. And it's not in my control how quickly the contractor and electrician and plumber work. I could try to like micromanage them and call them every 5 minutes, but I am very aware that that is not a supportive energy to bring. And so, in trying to support myself to feel like I'm doing something to help, instead of trying to help by controlling, I had a cancellation this morning and went and got some coffee and some snacks and some water bottles and brought them over to the new house for the workers um, because that felt like it would be, uh, it would sort of comfort that part of me that's like, you need to do something, you need to do something to make it go better. Um, and would be reflecting the spirit that I'd like to reflect to those workers, which is appreciation and gratitude and generosity. So that was really helpful to just bring them those snacks and say thank you for everything that they're doing. And I had a little exchange with the contractor and um, asked about his kids and stuff and reminded myself that I really just care about him as a human and appreciate all that he's contributing to our life right now. Um, and um, so just wanted to share. Um, and I love you very much. And oh, if you watched my cold shower video yesterday, this new program is asking us to do a cold shower every day. It's not going to happen today. I do not want to do it. And I have decided it was so awful. I felt so cold all day yesterday. And I'm sure there's I'm sure it could be of benefit, but I'm also sure that I have spent so much time being like, I'm going to be very gentle and respect my nervous system. And my nervous system was like, absolutely, that's a no, like with huge big letters and oh, like I'm not doing it. So it's not happening today. And I feel great about that because as much as I appreciate the support and information I'm going to receive from this training, I am always going to come back to my inner authority over outer authorities. And so you will not see anything about cold showers in the near future. That could change, but it just feels like really right that I'm not going to do it today. Okay. Love you. Love you. Bye.